But one of the things I kind of noticed in this banking space where I was there for 20 years, my key question to them is, I understand if you want to do Kaizen, if you want to continuously improve your process, but I kind of felt that they were just reinventing the wheel every couple of years, investing a lot of time and training into new concepts, which are all very similar. And I said, your key measurement should be, are your projects successful? And I found, strangely, differing to the bank where you were, I felt that most of their IT projects pretty much came in spot on. So I was wondering, why would they go to such a radical concept of Spotify?
Quite honestly, they really shouldn't have, because it's just not the right model for finance organizations.
Do we want to kind of give the viewers an idea of what the Spotify model is? Because I think it's kind of the pinnacle of agile expectation. And maybe we can go from that and then kind of go into the discipline agile, which kind of continues on that wave.
Yeah, and then we can talk about some of the other frameworks too, like SAFe and things like that as well. So Spotify, and I want to give real credit with this. They did an amazing job with this. It worked extremely well for them. I'm going to use past tense, right? Because that's how they started. It worked extremely well for them. And basically, the Spotify model is they created these teams and they called them tribes. And they have guilds and they have all kinds of different
squads.
Quite honestly, squads, exactly. Just have some cool names, right? It was revolutionary. It was different, and that was part of the success. Is that it was so out there, right? So it worked really well for them. But keep in mind, at the time, there were a small, homogenous organization with one product, and it's a
major startup flavor.
So yes, absolutely, those kinds of things are going to work really, really well for them. But if you look at them now, they don't follow that model anymore.
Well, they used to have this principle of, for example, they didn't have business cards, they didn't have business title. There was no hierarchy. It kind of followed this holocratic principle that was fashionable in Europe for a while, but I haven't heard anything about them in a long time either. But they just kind of outgrew it. I think they had the sophomoric attitude that this was going to revolutionize the world, and I was like, you're generation 342 that's thinking that. And like I said, I agree with you. I think the Spotify model was spot on for when they started.
With them,
but not even Spotify is using the Spotify method anymore.
No,
because they've grown.
And that's a good agile, and I'm going to use that, like a good agile organization should not be the same thing 5 years down the road, 10 years. They should be changing. And I'm going to give them lots and lots of credit. They changed like they should. They outgrew it and they moved to a different model.
Well, I think with size comes a different challenge of structure and framework. 100%. And whether you like it or not, you're going to borrow from what's been around for over 100,000 years or 10,000 years or whatever. Is kind of that, that vertical and horizontal distribution of responsibility. It's funny because I saw on Instagram the other day, I saw an interview with Steve Jobs, and I was cracking up. I was really biting my tongue. And he was basically saying, Apple was so innovative. And so he didn't use the word agile because that wasn't the in word back then.
At the time,
But he was basically saying, as they grew, they thought they needed managers, so they hired some. And it was a disaster because besides managing, they couldn't do anything. And they went back to subject matter experts. And I was saying, you know what, Steve, are you listening to yourself? Because what are you good at? Nothing. You're an expert on design and fonts.
Yes.
You don't know how to program. You don't have a software background. You don't know crap. So what do you do? You're a manager.
He had good vision, and he was
brilliant.
Brilliant.
He was brilliant. I really have this issue when we beat up on the management aspect of things. I think you can get a waterhead and have too many resources in one area. You need to create a balance, but there's a purpose and a reason for what I call that gray workforce. The workforce in the background that everybody misunderstands, but kind of integrates and coordinates and stuff like that.
And the reality is, you need all of that. You need people that do. You need your subject matter experts, and at some point in time in your growth, if you're a small company growing to a larger company, you're going to need to grow up. You're going to need to act like an adult. You're going to need
to have to get business cards.
You got to have business cards. Exactly. You're going to have to do those things.
Yeah.
And, it's the classic founder story.
Yeah.
They start out with this founder and it's like, destroy the world and we're going to revolutionize. And then eventually you grow up and you become an adult.
Yeah.
And then you've got people to deal with and HR issues and policies. You have to have those things or you collapse.
Yeah.
Right. Just that simple.